Hi there, everyone. Thank you for tuning into Virginia Clean Cities Technology Happy Hour. This happy hour was recorded in January 2025 with one of our partners, Columbia Willamette Clean Cities, and the Virginia Clean Cities staff to give you all some program updates as we move into the new year. If you'd like to learn more about Virginia Clean Cities, please visit the links below. And if not, we hope you enjoy listening.
Hi, everyone. I'm Grace Andrews. I am a project manager at Columbia Willamette Clean Cities, and I'm here to talk to you about the Empower Project. We like to do a little bit of chatting about workplace charging in general and why we care about it, although I'm sure you all are up on some of this stuff. I am going to go into these three main factors that we look at, which are that EV adoption is really on the rise and expected to increase thanks to the policies that do exist, both at the federal levels and then also at the state and local levels as well. And Bloomberg actually estimates that EVs will make up about 35% of all vehicles sold by 2040, which is pretty cool. And all those EV owners will need a place to charge. And we know that access to convenient and reliable charging is a prerequisite really to EV ownership, which makes workplace charging really a necessity. And then on the other side of things, corporations are increasingly committing to carbon reduction, sustainability goals. Climate Impact Partners estimates that 2/3 of global Fortune 500 companies have a significant carbon commitment, and they're looking for ways to make good on that commitment. And we think that workplace charging is a really important piece of that puzzle. And finally, there's also some non-monetary values to the workplace, which I will talk about on the next slide here. Yeah, so some of these non-monetary benefits to the workplace, they might in workplace charging might not actually make you cash, but it definitely will demonstrate client leadership. If you're an early adopter of this technology, your community will notice and see that that's something that you value. It also really helps attract and retain top talent to your organization. All the cool kids, as we know, are driving EVs these days, and companies really tend to want those forward thinkers to be their employees. It also helps companies earn certification points for sustainability programs such as LEED. And as a nice bonus, more and more employers are bringing folks back to the office if there's EV charging available. That's something that employees really appreciate as a workplace perk. That's becoming more and more common. So, what's the holdup then if this is so promising and has so many benefits? Why aren't more companies doing this? Uh, the issue ends up being that employers have a ton of questions about what kind of charging they'll need, what it will cost, how employees will use it, is it worth it, all these different things. So that's really where Empower comes in. The Empower Workplace Charging Project. We are a nationwide project funded by the Department of Energy. We have over 30 regional Clean Cities Coalition partners participating in this project nationwide, of which Virginia Clean Cities is one, and my coalition, Columbia Willamette, is also one. But we have over 30. And our goal is really to help workplaces realize those benefits that I was talking about earlier, as well as tackling barriers to installing workplace charging, such as financial barriers, logistical barriers, that kind of thing. So that is our goal. Quick overview of some of the benefits of Empower for workplaces. The number one benefit that I think is fantastic, and I don't think there's another program quite like this, is you get access to one-on-one workplace charging coaching from our Clean Cities coaches, um, like Greg here, and they will really sit down with you and help you work through the process of what grants you could apply for, what equipment may be the best fit, that all that kind of thing. And we'll also walk you through our project resources and tools, which are up on our website. Those can include like a workplace charging pocket guide that helps guide the process from the get-go, equipment selection guides, all kinds of juicy information you never knew that you needed about workplace charging. And then, uh, yes, incentive information, which you can access through your coaches. And then recognition is also a part of the Empower program, both locally and nationally. We have a certificate that our workplaces get when they install charging. And we have been recently featuring tons of stories on our social media, on our LinkedIn page. So those are some of the things that we have as benefits. Project progress. So, where are we in this project? What have we accomplished so far? Well, we have engaged or contacted over 3,400 workplaces, 436 pledges signed by workplaces dedicating to advanced access to EVs for their employees, 720 EVSE ports installed nationwide, and as of right now, 58% of our project benefits have gone to uh, energy and environmental justice communities. Our project goal was 40% in alignment with the Biden administration's Justice 40 initiative. So that has been really promising as well. We've been able to get these chargers to communities that really need it through the help of this coaching.
Then I wanted to add some of
Yeah.
Virginia specific numbers from Virginia Clean Cities. So we have engaged Russell, myself, Matt, Alan, as a team. We've engaged 144 plus workplaces in Virginia. We've had 44 pledges signed, and those range from things like UVA, JMU, to a small nonprofit. And then we had 10 plus ports installed so far, with an additional 8 in the queue for Rural Reimagined. And they are very excited about the chargers. Some of them actually here on this call today. So yeah, I'll pass it back over to Grace.
Greg? Yeah, so this is just a little graphic that you can show who is actually participating in Empower, what kinds of workplaces we actually track this. So as you can see from the screenshot that I just pulled from our data dashboard, we have a wide range of workplaces. Government and public offices are actually the largest share at 22%. But as you can see, don't need to be a typical office building to participate in getting workplace charging, to participate in Empower. We have schools, public buildings, manufacturers, retail, and more that have all been part of Empower so far. And then this is just some of our pledged employers that you can find on our website. You can go and click and look at these employers. I want you to hear from Paul at Reiner Rentals, which is a Virginia Clean Cities workplace. And hopefully the sound comes through okay.
My name is Paul Reiner. I'm the owner and principal broker of Reiner Rentals, which is a residential property management company in Harrisonburg, Virginia. When we decided to make the change to an EV fleet and install charging infrastructure, I contacted Virginia Clean Cities just for some advice. If you have a good support system like we did with Russell and Virginia Clean Cities, it made the process a lot less intense than we thought maybe it was going to be. And at the end of the day, I think we find ourselves in a much better place.
Paul is a perfect example of the sort of customer that we want to engage with because they care about their community, they care about alternative fuels and the environment, and they're part of the early adopter group that is interested and wants to provide EV charging for the community and for their employees.
Working with Russell has been amazing, not only for his skill set in the charging world, but we're both dads, we both have kids in school. And so again, there's this personal relationship that you build. We can relate on that level in addition to his expertise as far as electric charging. Electrification of our fleet was a slam dunk and a no-brainer, and it's been just massive benefit, both for our employees and for our day-to-day operations.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, so as you can see, positive reviews for Virginia Clean Cities and the Empower Project. Next steps for workplaces. If any of you have workplaces that you work at, that you manage, that might be interested in getting some EV charging, go ahead and sign our Empower Pledge on workplacecharging.com. There's also a little QR code there. And then, or just contact one of the Virginia Clean Cities folks on this call and they'll get you all set up. And then you can receive that personalized coaching and get started with your plan for installing workplace charging. So I encourage you, if you are eligible for this, if this is something that you're interested in, please just do it. The pledge, you're not promising anything. You're just signing up saying, hey, I'm interested in getting better EV access for my employees. So there you go. That's it for me.
Yeah.
I have my email there if anyone wants to contact me, or you can just, oh, Amy, is there a connection between Empower and eval or Charge at Work? Yes, so we're all funded by the Department of Energy, and we have similar but distinct programs. So they are separate programs, and you could theoretically participate in multiple of them, but the unique part about Empower is having that personalized coaching where someone will sit down with you and help you through the process step by step. We don't have a certification that you have to pay for. We have a certificate that you get whenever you actually install charging or if you have installed charging. So, Melanie, is there a list of EV charging companies that you utilize when a company signs a pledge? So, we do have a list of national partners that we work with, some of which are EV companies, but we also defer to the workplace to figure out which company might be best for them. Or if the local coalition, if Virginia Clean Cities has installers that they have worked with in the past, or EV sales people that they've worked with in the past, to recommend what might be best for you.
Yeah, I will say we had someone here in Harrisonburg that was interested in sounding the Empower Pledge, and they got the chargers on their own. We did help them kind of get those chargers up and running, making sure they were working, making sure that the public knew about them. But it was on them with the local electrician to get it installed. But it was relatively painless. It was a faith-based organization, so some of the the legalese and that they had to go through were different than some other businesses. Like Reiner Rentals was very easy. So just something to note there. But let's keep things rolling. If you can hold your questions till the end, and or like Grace said, her email is right here. Feel free to send her an email directly if you have additional questions. So
yeah, or stick them in the chat in the next couple minutes. I'll stick around for
Yeah.
a little bit.
That's great too. Thank you so much, Grace. All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna pass it over to Matthew Wade, our Deputy Director of Virginia Clean Cities.
Thank you, Greg. My pleasure to speak to everyone this afternoon about the Mid-Atlantic Nitrogen Oxide Reduction Project, or MANR. And this is a second iteration of this same program. We ran in 2019 to 2023. We had a EPA clean diesel project called MANR. And so now we have a second iteration called MANR 2. So what is the Diesel Emission Reductions Program? This is an EPA program that is dedicated or funded and mandated to reduce diesel emissions from existing diesel engines, primarily medium and heavy duty. So you're thinking your class 4 through 8. The program aims to improve air quality and public health by reducing these harmful diesel emissions. Diesel engines have evolved over time from tier 1 to tier 4. And so this project primarily targets those tier 1, 2, and 3 engines. So things prior to 2013 regulations. So the objectives, I mentioned reducing diesel emissions from these engines that are on the road today, that have been on the road for years and years, in some cases, have racked up hundreds of thousands, if not millions of miles, improving the air quality and the public health by reduction of those emissions, promoting the use of cleaner technology and practices. So they incentivize higher reimbursements for the use of electric and low NOx engines like natural gas, and supporting projects that achieve significant reductions in these emissions. So what was the most recent award that Virginia Clean Cities received? This was a partnership between Virginia Clean Cities and United Parcel Service. United Parcel Service operates 680 Class 8 tractor trailers in Virginia, using almost, of those 680 tractor trailers, only a certain portion of them are natural gas, but they're using exclusively renewable natural gas which is sourced from waste products instead of being extracted and refined. So it is a significant carbon and nitrogen oxide reduction. There was $3.5 million available for Region 3, which is what Virginia is based in, with Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, DC. And we took on the entire $3.5 million for this project. So yay us. We partner as a nonprofit based at a university. We fall into the state agency nonprofit eligible category, but other categories such as localities, local governments, ports, regional and state agencies also qualify for this funding. If you're a private sector company and you have heavy duty or medium duty vehicles, the best way to apply for this funding is to partner with a Clean Cities Coalition or a other nonprofit, air quality nonprofit. And that way you can access this funding through the proposal process. And so what are the project types that they will fund? They will fund engine repowers, which is basically taking an existing vehicle that's still got some useful life and removing the engine and replacing it with something newer and cleaner or alternative fueled. They will do equipment upgrades, so you can put a diesel emissions filter system on a new or some sort of emissions control technology on an existing diesel vehicle. You can also do vehicle and equipment replacements. This is what we typically do because it's just more bang for the buck, and because you're basically taking an existing vehicle that's on the road and replacing it with something newer and more efficient and cleaner. And so, that's what we're doing with the UPS project. And then there's also clean alternative fuel conversions. These are converting engines to use cleaner alternative fuels. So if you had a ferry or a piece of construction equipment, there are ways to convert those engines from diesel to natural gas or electric. And so what is the project structure? So the Manor project consists of 4 primary partners: James Madison University, which is the Office of Sponsored Programs. They provide project accounting and some financial management. The UPS, United Parcel Service, they're volunteering 72 Class 8 tractors between the model years of 2003 and 2016. And so these tractors are volunteered to be replaced, and they are basically they're also buying 72 new natural gas tractors worth almost $17 million. So that's where the cost share comes in, which is a big piece of this project. The Environmental Protection Agency is the project sponsor, and then Virginia Clean Cities, we do the project management. We wrote the proposal. We do the outreach and education to the communities that have these vehicles driving through them to let them know, hey, there's some newer, cleaner natural gas vehicles traveling through your neighborhood. And then most importantly, we review the scrappage documents that UPS provides. So each truck has to be properly disposed of, which we'll talk about on the next slide, I think. Yeah. So each truck needs a 3-inch hole drilled in the engine block, and the chassis needs to be sliced in half. You can do this a number of ways. A lot of folks just use a big drill to drill the hole, and a saw or a acetylene torch to cut the chassis in half. But I've seen them be ripped apart with a big excavator claw, hanging out in scrap yards. You get to see a lot of interesting things. And so, scrappage, the vehicle must be destroyed and then documented. So you have to take before and after photos of the process. There's about 6 pictures you have to take, and those have to be, delivered to the Environmental Protection Agency before that vehicle is confirmed and approved as scrapped. And then you also have to document any revenue that you get from the scrappage. So if the scrapyard pays you $500 for the metal, that actually counts against your federal funding. And so the project outcomes, this is going to remove 70 true diesel trucks from the road and replace them with renewable natural gas vehicles. UPS uses about 2 million gallons of renewable natural gas per year in Virginia. So it's a very substantial carbon reduction effort. The reduction just from this program annually is almost 3,000 tons of CO2, 10 tons of NOx, and it doesn't look like much particulate matter, but that's actually a lot of particulate matter reduced, 0.2 tons a year. And then 250,000 gallons of diesel reductions. So a very impactful project, and with a great partner in UPS, we're confident that we can get this done. We've already scrapped 20 trucks in the 2 months that the project's been out, in the first quarter of the project. And so we're making good progress towards scrapping that total 72. As you can see, there's a picture of a big claw grabbing a tractor trailer and just kind of tossing it around a scrapyard very safely, of course. This is all done in a very safe, responsible manner. So I'm happy to take any questions at the end of the presentation. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much, Matt. And Matt was being a little humble there. Matt is kind of the orchestrator of Manor, and he is the reason that we have that program at JMU. So thank you, Matt. With that, I will pass it over to our fearless leader, another one of them, Alan Harned. He's going to give us a little bit of an update on the Mid-Atlantic Electrification Partnership, which is finishing up this year. So with that, Alan.
Awesome. Greg, thank you for all of this, and also just phenomenal to live in a world where we could have a PowerPoint presentation with a video in it that worked. I'm not sure I've ever experienced such true beauty of the technological engagement. So kudos to you. I am here to talk about a 3-year project begun at the tail end of the Trump administration that is lucky to carry in to the Trump administration again, which is the Mid-Atlantic Electrification Partnership. Originally planned as a 3-year project, we did have some logistics troubles during the kickoff. I'm going to zip through some slides, but I hope that you guys have some questions that you can ask us later, and we do have some continued opportunities in the year ahead for some educational activities or other items as we unwind the final small number of activities. But this was a large-scale electric vehicle ecosystem project funded in 2020. There were 3 of these projects nationwide, and a sequence of additional projects came the following year, 2021, and Rural Reimagined is a project from that second year. But this is one that Virginia won and is leading for the nation in terms of electrified vehicles, so for passenger and for medium and heavy duty, but also for the infrastructure, the education, the analysis. Excitingly enough, we figured out how to listen to people about electric vehicle chargers, and we've written some processes there for the charger deployment. And then the project also incorporated a fair number of vehicles. So a wide range of partnerships from the Greater Washington Clean Cities Coalition, so that's DC. We had the West Virginia Clean Cities Coalition. We had also the Maryland Clean Cities Coalition and Virginia Clean Cities. We had Argonne National Labs, and we had EV Noir. We had Charlottesville, and we had a whole bunch of other key partners. And Virginia Energy led this project. So there's the prime, and Virginia Clean Cities provided a key amount of support in Virginia, but also in the region. Very excitingly, we set out to do 28 public events. We did a fair number of those virtually the first year. 2020 was the pandemic, and 2021 we did have a plan to do a lot of school work, and a lot of those universities were still not necessarily interested in a bunch of vehicle ride and drives, but we were able to do some great event work. We worked with a partner, EV Noir, who is a phenomenal partner for this project, exceeding the goal of a total of 30 events by more than double. And we were able to advance some pretty significant things in a virtualized world, having executives from the partners, such as the Volkswagen or BGE, Baltimore Gas and Electric, having utility executives really lining up with this. So great events. Next slide. Just going to show a couple couple cute pictures because Virginia is near and dear to my heart. And so while we did document all of these events, we do have a great solar electric butterfly trailer event. So that was a electric vehicle hauling a giant solar powered trailer that would recharge the vehicle every time they stopped. So they stopped for a few days in Harrisonburg on the solar butterfly tour, and we had a good old event here in 2023. Also in Norfolk, we had a electric vehicle showcase at Norfolk State. So just some pictures of those events, and that white car you see front and center might come up again later. We also had a strong analysis component with this project. If you've seen things like the 30C tax credit eligibility locator or items related to the Justice 40 program, as well as utility capacity mapping tools, we were really pushing for community partners in this project and Argonne National Labs and the U.S. Department of Energy to have these tools freely available and accessible to all. So added a bunch of electric vehicle chargers, data layers to these projects. And the main tool that's accessible to all is also called this GEM tool, Geographic Energy Mapping Tool. So very cool stuff. This tax credit tool is also showing in green all the areas that are eligible for the 30C tax credit. A lot of analysis throughout this project with Argonne National Labs, including some predictable analyses that we did with Virginia Energy and some partners. In this case, it was Cadmus, setting the path and the plan for how many chargers we would need over time in the Commonwealth. Public chargers, workplace chargers, and public level 2, so both public level 2 and DC fast chargers. Wanted to just lay out that we listened to a lot of communities. In order to advanced electric vehicle chargers, we wanted to give folks a chance to tell us their ideas, what they wanted to achieve, identify timeframes, inquire about partnerships, and work through planning for electric vehicle chargers. Do they want a networked charger? Do they want to offer free power? Do they have some other system that they would like? What are the parking policies that they would engage with? And then also establishing a long-term maintenance plan, because we wanted to help communities put chargers in and then to keep those chargers in the systems to last. Sometimes you'd bump into historic property challenges or panel upgrades or higher costs such as trenching, and we would help people talk through their dreams and then try to pitch and layer on charging incentives. And so we took a neutral approach to try to run as many people through the project as possible, which had 400 level 2 chargers, as well as a bunch of DC fast chargers, about 50 DC fast chargers. And we pitched those incentives, and we've been working to follow up to get the job done. All along this way, we made the constant joke of how many people does it take to put in a light bulb? And the answer to that joke is it's just one person. But the punchline to that joke along the way is that there are many people who are needed for the planning purposes or to not quite put in that light bulb. And so some of these got done. A lot of them remain to be done. And so our project was very timely. We very quickly found the 2021 infrastructure bill, and so did try to assist communities in their suggestions for applying for the charging and fueling infrastructure or planning for NEVI chargers, aligning people with the federal tax credit, and aligning people with utility programs. This is just the Virginia slide, but also we helped people in Maryland and in DC with their chargers, with Pepco and with BGE respectively. And then the project had chargers that were funded through GreenSpot for hubs, level 2 charging hubs, through Blink Charging for level 2 sort of higher end, faster level 2 chargers, through Pepco for taxi fleet, and then through BGE. And the Pepco fleet struggled and did not get off the ground, but everything else is well underway. We also supported getting people information about Dominion and EVgo and Electrify America and many other incentives. Volt over there. So there's that white car again. Woodstock, Hampton Inn. So this was a Blink installation of 6 level 2 chargers. I think I saw Andy Hillman on the call. So glad to have a longstanding Clean Cities partner here. But also Martinsville, public parking lot on the left, GreenSpot, some 6 level 2 chargers. These were communities that wanted charging. They contacted us asking us for tips and tricks on how to get charging, and then we're able to walk away with federally funded and partnership funded public, high capacity, well-maintained EV chargers. And then here is West Virginia. So, I got to cross the border a little bit to the folks who won the Civil War, but we've got these West Virginia chargers at White Sulphur Springs at the Greenbrier. And this is where we learned that we could achieve excess utility demand fees from having a whole bunch of level 2 chargers that were fueling a whole bunch of vehicles. So very proud of the scope and scale of these installations. Each one of these chargers is capable of 16 to 19 kilowatts per port. And so you can see just a beautiful bokeh effect from the photography of this thing kind of fading out. And so then there's also more chargers in other areas of the Greenbrier. These were level two chargers. The number for this one is correct. 6 level 2 chargers in Newmarket, Virginia, at the John Henry General Store. This was a really great experience for us because we were also able to do some vehicle demonstrations with them, and this just a wonderful site for rural tourism. The project avoided DC fast charger corridors in Virginia because we were doing the EV Go and the Electrify America project at the same time. But we did ultimately do some charger replacements and some light duty or light, non-federal charger partnerships here, installing a DC fast charger in New Kent, Virginia, as well as a DC fast charger in Middleburg, Virginia, both from community partners asking for help. Shining star here was opening a sequence of DC fast chargers in a disadvantaged community. This is St. Francis Academy in the Baltimore area, and you can see Gabe Klein from the Joint Office of Energy and Transportation celebrating these chargers. This was bringing fast charging into communities in areas that were identified by the federal government during the last administration or the current administration as Justice 40, as priority areas to be sure that 40% of federal investments go to areas that meet income thresholds to other needs. So great chargers. Here's a map of all the chargers. There's 3 maps: Altfield Data Center, PlugShare, and ChargeWay. And so this is just other maps: PlugShare and ChargeWay. So you should be able to see all the chargers. And we also did some cool vehicles, 100 vehicles with lift. These guys have already driven over 3 million miles and have 37,000 charging events. The operators are enjoying the electric vehicles. The project started out looking at being sure to accomplish 50 electric school buses and across the region. And in Virginia alone, we are reaching towards 500 electric school buses in the years ahead. And we're going to do some additional work with bookmobiles, the step vans, and some state vehicles. So just grateful to be here with everybody. This is a big teamwork engagement. So we have the Virginia team, the Greater Washington, D.C. team, the Maryland team here today. And the young lady who's wearing the gray coat was a student who designed the graphics for the charger, really aligning the community interest, in multiple ways here, showcasing this. So the project continues. There's going to be one last wrap-up year, and so we definitely want to still talk to everybody about their charging or their electric vehicle inquiries under the Mid-Atlantic project, and I'm just grateful to be here with everybody.
Thank you so much, Alan. That was awesome. I've had a great time working with you and the VCC team and the other coalitions on the Mid-Atlantic Electrification Partnership. With that, we had 2 little events that we have coming up for 2025. I don't know if Graham is here. Graham has to go pick up his adorable child from daycare at 4. So Matt or Alan, do you guys want to talk about these events? You know more about them.
Yeah, I'll just jump in to say that Virginia Clean Cities regularly does like a quarterly event with our stakeholders or with our community members. And so for this quarter, our main event is in March 7th. We are at the Jordan Newby Branch Library in Norfolk, and we're going to gather fleets together. It's free lunch for fleets, and there is going to be a Clean Fuels Expo with vehicles, expo tables, and panel discussions. I'm sorry, free lunch for everybody, but we are seeking sponsors and exhibitors. So that event is on the Virginia Clean Cities website, and we'd love to invite anybody in the Tidewater area to come on down. And I put the link in the chat.
You did? Okay. Thank you so much, Alan. And then the second event we have is our annual rally in Richmond for the Virginia Clean Cities team. So it's at Main Street Station in Richmond, Virginia. Beautiful location. April 3rd. Graham Sheridan, who was supposed to present these slides, who had to go pick up his adorable child, like I said, he is kind of spearheading that. So if you are interested in exhibiting and interested in sponsoring, please contact Graham. Otherwise, just come hang out and buy tickets for it. It's gonna be a great time. Alan, did you want to say anything else about the rally in Richmond?
This is our annual event. It's also the second quarter event. So you guys got to come to both, 2 different quarters. It's totally different. April 3rd. This is our annual event. We're going to have a sequence of speakers and sessions, a full series of expo tables. There is going to be food and alcohol. And it's free for fleets and free for stakeholders, and also very affordable for all. Both events have very similar sponsorship rates, often trying to secure about a $500 donation for a table or for a vehicle. But again, both events are also free for stakeholders and fleets to attend. And we just would love to see you. Thank you, Matt, for putting the link into the chat. And this is our 12th rally. So we've done this as our annual event every year for 12 years. So we'd love to see you in Richmond.
Yeah. So with that, we've gone through our updates and program updates. I can't see the chat from my end, but here's our contact information, and let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to hit them in the chat if you want to do that now, or you can come off mute and ask away.
Charles wanted to know what time the rally is going to be taking place, and I believe we're going to go from 2 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. on April 3rd. Do we have a time for the Norfolk event?
The Norfolk event is going to start early. It is 9:30 until 2:30. There is food and vehicles.
And this is just a teaser of things to come. Virginia Clean Cities has been awarded several new projects that we'll be happy to unveil probably in April once we get things under contract. So stay tuned. There's lots more coming, even more exciting alternative fuel vehicle projects coming to Virginia.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. As I said earlier in the beginning, that this is recorded and we will post this to YouTube later if you want to refer back to it. You have all of our information listed here as well. Feel free to contact any of us directly. That's our job. We love getting to talk to people about clean transportation. So with that, I'll let everyone go. Thank you so much.